Hello, this is Danielle. I'm just doing my video on my Museum in a Box project. My Museum in a Box project, I did 6 pieces of ancient Egyptian pottery, and they all date from approximately 4th Dynasty, which is around 2600 BCE. So I'm just going to go through each of the pieces here and just give a little explanation, as well as the really interesting background behind the kind of person who is behind the collection of these objects, who's a very interesting person in their own right. So the first piece that I'm going to show is this one right here. So this is a piece of a wheel spun Nile clay bowl, and this bowl would have been made from, as I just said, clay made from the Nile, and it would have been fired at a relatively low temperature, which is why the inside, not sure if you can see it, is actually, yes, you can see it right here. It's actually darker on the inside than it is on the red outside, and that's from firing at such a low temperature. It's very interesting because it was actually made on a wheel, which normally we would think of wheel pottery being more of a new kind of development, but it actually would have been around back then. It also likely would have been used to carry things like grains, which might have been actually used for some form of payment or certain compensation for the people who were constructing the pyramids at Giza back in the Old Kingdom. We also have some pieces, various pieces of beer jars, which are also from the same time period. You'll notice these are much thicker and coarser than the bowl we just looked at. And actually, the primary school students noticed that these two pieces actually fit together. So when you line them up like that, they actually go together, so it's part of the same pot, which we didn't initially notice. So it was they were very excited to figure that out. And you can really see the pock marks that are left in this piece of pottery, and that's from, to bind the clay, the Nile clay, they had to combine it with something to kind of use as a binding ingredient, and so they would use things like grains and things like that, and during the firing process those grains would be burned away and it left these little pock marks instead. So that's really interesting as well. We also have, amongst many other things, a large piece of what we think would have been an amphora jar or something to that effect. It's very dense. The base is actually solid from the tip until around here. So this is all solid clay. It's very heavy, and it actually has pieces of rock and stone in it, as well as the grain marks and things like that. And this would have been the bottom of the jar, and it would have been much, probably, well, it's hard to tell from just the bottom part, but it would have been a larger jar, likely with 1 or 2 handles on the sides, and it would have been likely used in transporting goods either between Egypt and Rome, or anywhere within the region that were trading goods such as wines and grains and things like that. So this likely would have been put on a ship and used in the trade of the time. And lastly, I just wanted to talk about the fabulous woman who is behind who is attributed to having this collection. Within the box, we have a ticket which has a statement on it, basically describing the collection. It says, Egyptian pottery bought by Mrs. Tennant, 1867, and found adjacent to the unfinished Pyramid of Giza. When looking into who Mrs. Tennant is, it's likely that it was a woman named Lillian Tennant, and she was actually one of the first women to be admitted to the British School of Archaeology in Athens. So, and she worked very closely with the rather more well-known female archaeologist, Dorothy Lamb. So it's really kind of special that we can attribute this collection to such a important person in women's access to previously male-dominated and honestly still male-dominated areas of expertise. So it's just really really special. So I hope you enjoyed this very quick and short explanation of some of the objects in my box, and thank you very much. Thanks, bye.